Welcome to NCBA's Cattleman's Call podcast with host Lane Nordland.
Everyone, welcome back to the Cattleman's Call podcast. Lane Nordland with you here today, and at CattleCon 2026, General Session number 3 was filled with a lot of information and a full ballroom with cattlemen and women looking towards the future of their businesses. And of course, the economics of it are the heart of our operations. And joining us here today is Randy Blach of CattleFax. And Randy, another successful, well-attended event there during the general session. For our friends that are joining us here, watching this a few days after CattleCon, what were those key things that you shared in terms of where the prices are headed, how this inventory report is impacting things out in the countryside, and the overall feeling from CattleFax and the feeling from the country as well?
A lot of highlights from the session here at convention as we finished up, and I reflect on the overall message. I mean, there's so many positive messages when we're at a 40-year high in beef demand. I think it's really time we take our hat off to all those hardworking producers all across this industry and the contributions that they've made to changing the overall quality of this product. The demand growth is unprecedented. That's what's really driving profitability. And again, one of the messages I had to our audience was, we don't need to apologize for these higher prices. This has been something that the industry's focused on, is improving the overall quality of our product, something that consumers could rely on day in and day out, that they could count on. And again, they're being rewarded for that. So we're not seeing a lot of expansion take place yet in the industry. It's still a very, very slow turn and curve in here, but we do believe we're going to see the pace of the expansion pick up. Prices are going to stay good, but I mean, I think the big message we had for the audience was it's going to be volatile. There's so many uncertainties in this market. There's so many policy decisions that can impact the business that the uncertainty is unprecedented. So mind our P's and Q's. We know this cattle cycle is now in the 6th year off the low, so it's getting a little bit long in tooth.
So when we're looking at that price forecast for 2026, what were those key figures that you're sharing for those 5.5 weight steers or those 5 weight steers onto those yearlings? What are we looking at? Did we top the market last year, or what are those forecasts looking at?
You know, I think we're actually still in a very, very strong market place for prices here through the next year. I really felt like as we were in the last fall that we probably were at the peak in the market then, but you know, look at how well the market has responded and come back. I mean, the market is just short on supply. We're short on supply all the way through the system. We've known that. We think we're going to keep calf prices very strong. These calf prices staying in the mid-4s and you know, a big range through the course of the year, but strong. And of course, feeder cattle prices in the mid-3s and fed cattle prices averaging around 2.25. So the thing I think we all have to understand is these markets move 8 to 10% around these averages. Mm-hmm. Well, if we just do simple math and we talk about a 10% range around a 2.25 fed market, we're talking about a $50 range. Do that on a 3.5 weight calf, we're talking about a yearling, we're talking about $80 range. So that's what we really want people to understand, is the market environment we're in and the potential volatility.
And expanding on that volatility, what are some key things that maybe aren't alarming yet, but you're definitely folding the page down on the corner of it in your book, saying, I'm gonna come back and keep looking at this?
Well, I think there's always things when we're in a market like this. I think the first thing we all have to realize is, as producers or analysts in this market and this business, is we have to understand how we got where we got to. I mean, market prices wouldn't be as high as they are had there not been some of the things that have. The government was forced to close the Mexican border because of screwworm. That cut off 1.2 million head of cattle that would have normally flown into our marketplace. That's a big number when you annualize that. That'd be the equivalent of, we would estimate $15 to $20 a hundred on the value of fed cattle over a 12-month period of time. So those are real numbers. And again, when we had large tariff levels on Brazil, that was effectively shutting off a lot of lean beef imports. Those are big numbers because we need lean. And when cow slaughter is down 30% in 2 years, we need even more lean.
Yep.
So lots of volatility out there.
Randy, stay with us. We just need to take a quick moment and hear from our friends at Lallemand. And we'll be back with Randy. Maybe we'll focus on the feedlot end of things when we come back. But first, these words from Lallemand. Kip Cargis joining us here today. And Kip, for those who are not familiar with Lallemand and the brand, share a little bit about it and all the resources and animal nutrition they provide folks out in the countryside.
Well, great to be here, Lane, with you today. It's NCBA time, and it's a fun time of the year, right, for us. So Lallemand Animal Nutrition, we've been in business for a very long time. The company is fairly old, was started in the late 1800s, but today we're a global company. We have several different business units. Our basic strength is in bacteria and yeast products. Could be utilized for a variety of different purposes, from bread to fermentation to the alcohol fermentation to animal nutrition products, whether that's silage inoculants or some type of live yeast that we can supplement cattle with today.
Now we know that forage quality can be over the board, all over the board, especially during times of drought, or you're bringing in hay or other forages from different locations, or even your own location. So when we look at fiber digestibility, how important is it to focus on that so our cattle can stay productive in the countryside, but also healthy?
Oh, yeah, great question. Because we go through a lot of different seasons with forage production and a cattle cycle, right? Especially on the cow-calf and backgrounding areas. And it's really important to try to optimize that utilization of that fiber. And we're trying to do that through bugs, right? We're feeding bacteria. It's a fermentation system. We know we need certain levels of degradable protein in our diets these days. But can we utilize it even better if we supplement a live yeast that's been designed specifically to improve fiber digestibility? And yes, we can, is the short answer.
So when we're looking at that performance and profitability with a small little input there added there, what is it like talking with producers about how adding this can truly just help with performance, but profitability as well?
Oh, for sure. We're in a strong cycle of the segment right now for the industry as far as profitability. That allows them to try some new tools that are in the toolbox. And we're looking at profitability from the standpoint of Levicell 1077, which is a live yeast that we can supplement to the cow-calf operation, improve fiber digestibility, and most importantly, we gain about another extra 22 pounds of calf weight on a calf that's going to get weaned off for mama cow. We picked up another 22 pounds of calf weight on that.
And I know there was a recent a cow-calf research project that was carried out. Talk about what was added there and really how that helped with body condition, with rumen function, and overall productivity for that bovine.
For sure. So that goes back to supplementation of Levicell 1077. We did that through a loose mineral program. So it's not complicated to get into the animal. It's very palatable. Secondly, as far as performance, we saw an improvement in body condition score, which you alluded to. Mm-hmm. And that's not normally seen, right? So that was a surprise for us in that particular project. We picked up a half body condition score. So that's huge, right? And then you translate that increased fiber utilization over not only body condition score, but improvement in milk production, which translates into improvement in average daily gain for the calf.
And it's not just the cow-calf side that you're researching and focusing on too. How about the backgrounders?
Yeah, the backgrounders is another area that has a lot of fiber in it, right, in their rations. And so if we can utilize, again, this strain of yeast, Levicell 1077, specifically select it for fiber utilization and supplement that to a backgrounder and improve average daily gain or feed conversion, fantastic. And that's what we did. We ran a project and it performed well.
And how do you say that again? Levicell?
Levicell.
Levicell.
Yes.
See, it's always big words for me.
Big words.
Words are hard for Lane sometimes.
Yeah,
But Kip, I'm just going to share this message with our friends here today because a high-functioning rumen drives herd performance, gut health, and profitability. Levucell SC 1077 by Lallemand Animal Nutrition is the only naturally occurring rumen-specific active dry yeast probiotic selected to optimize rumen function, boost fiber digestion, and help you get more out of your forage and feed. No matter how you supplement your herd, including Levucell SC 1077 can help your cows do more on what they already have. Discover the right formulation for your herd at chooselevucellsc.com. Kip, thanks for sharing a little more on that and that research and how you're helping producers be more profitable, productivity in place as well, and of course, making that cow healthy as well.
Oh, yeah, it's all about cow fiber utilization and profitability.
Well, again, check out Lallemand Animal Nutrition online. Find a rep near you and how these can help you be more profitable in the countryside. We'll be back with our conversation with Randy Blach now. Randy, as we look, we are talking more on that cow-calf end of things here today, but the guys out in feedlot country, what are some things you're watching there? Inputs, prices, beef demand. What are some of the things that you highlighted here at convention?
Well, I think the big thing we have today, if you're looking at feedlot country, is we still have very attractive feedlot cost of gains. Corn prices are continuing to be depressed. It's been very difficult on the farm economy out here, but the reality is we've got the cost of gains averaging close to $1 a pound. We've got the price of fed cattle up at $2.30 to $2.40 a pound. That's sending a signal to continue to make these cattle bigger. Carcass weights have increased 52 pounds in the last 2 years. 52 pounds carcass weight increase is equivalent of harvesting 2 million more cattle in that 2-year time period. So that is a significant increase in the contribution on a per head basis. And it looks like weights are going to be up again this year. So I think as an industry, we need to be careful that we don't take these weights too far and then we wake up and we build ourselves a big front end supply. And that would be something I'd have on my radar screen because the supply of cattle is very tight, but we can still become uncurrent in that supply. And I think that's one of the things that will be keeping me up at night as I'm watching the data.
How about hay and forage? What are some of the things that the team is keeping an eye on price-wise, availability? Because again, it's dry. We'll cross our fingers, be the internal optimist that good moisture is going to come. We'll have a good hay crop. But what are some things you're watching?
Well, I would say from a hay, forage, grain standpoint, those markets are all highly correlated. And obviously moisture becomes the big deal. Are we going to get adequate moisture, as you mentioned, Lane? Again, based on the forecast we saw from Matt Makins at the Outlook session, he's very optimistic that we're going to see improved moisture, not necessarily a major shift, but improved moisture situation. So when I look at where we are today, we've got abundance of grain. We've got plenty of hay, forage supplies around the country with the summer and early fall we had last year. So I think we've got a little bit of a hedge in here, a little bit of a cushion. I don't expect to see any significant price changes in the next 12 months.
Well, speaking of hedging, what are some market volatility strategies that folks should always consider? Things that watching the resources CattleFax provides. What are some tips for helping manage risk on these operations when cattle are worth so much money?
Well, I think when we look at the way these markets move today, all we have to do is go back to the market change that we had from October 16th to November 24th. We had a 5-week time period in here. Fed cattle prices broke. Futures broke nearly $40 a hundred. Feeder cattle futures broke $75 a hundred. Calf prices changed $70 to $100 a hundredweight in the marketplace in that period of time. That could happen again very easily in here, depending on how some of these things unfold. So I think at these kind of price levels, we have to manage some of the risk, whether that's using LRP, whether it's using options contracts. for those that are more used to these markets and futures are a good option, but man, these markets move.
Yep.
And again, just in the last 24 hours, we saw feeder cattle prices from yesterday's close to today. There's a $10 range.
Yeah.
$10 range. And that was from the last closing minute to the opening of today's marketplace.
Yep.
Fed cattle prices moved $8 up. So to think you can forecast these things, you can't. Let's just be honest. I mean, we do this for a living. When you get in times like we're in today, we just have to be smart. We need to make sure that we're not letting all this good profitability get away.
How many times have you given the market outlook at CattleCon?
Well, I've been fortunate to be involved with the Outlook session now. I believe this is 42 years, so a long time.
So you were 5 years old the first time you got to do that, right?
Old. Yeah, it's been fun. I came to work at CattleFax 45 years ago.
Wow.
I was going to be here for 2 years. I found my passion, something I love, and been able to serve the producers in the industry.
Well, over those years, what is one bit of information that has never changed in terms of wanting producers to be profitable and to make a go of the countryside? What's one thing that has never changed in the advice you give them?
Well, I think we just need to know how to read the tea leaves. These markets are very cyclical. They tend to be 10 to 11 years in length. This one we're now year 6 off of the lows that we made in the summer of 2020. So very seldom does the up part of the cattle cycle last more than 5 years. And we are now scratching the earliest time of 6 years. So it's quite possible that the markets have already priced in the lion's share of the up that we're going to see in this particular run. So those are things that really haven't changed much. And really, if you think about the cattle cycle going clear back into the 1930s and 40s, we tend to still have a 10 to 11 year cattle cycle.
Well, Randy, I know it's a big day here at CattleCon. A lot of folks want to use your valued time and reach audiences, and they want to get your ear too. So I won't hold you up anymore here on the podcast, but thanks for talking with us and sharing a little bit on that outlook for 2026.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Lane. Best of luck to you all out there listening. Again, these folks do an incredible service to the industry and being able to get a lot of this valuable information, research, and analysis out, and we appreciate the opportunity to work with you.
Thanks, Randy, and thank you for joining us here today. A big shout out to our friends at Lallemand for helping bring you this conversation here today. With that, friends, make sure and subscribe to the Cattleman's Call podcast wherever you watch or listen and enjoy our podcast conversations. I'm Lane Nordlund. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to NCBA's Cattleman's Call podcast with Lane Nordlund. For more information, visit ncba.org and make sure to subscribe to the podcast today.